Hey, Zane here, and welcome back. I've got my little mate Chili with me again today, and I want to share with you some thoughts around getting started in Bitcoin. Now, today's message is really geared towards newbies who are perhaps new to this space, haven't yet taken the first step, because I know that many of you, and maybe you're in this boat, you're already well on your Bitcoin journey. And if that's the case, I want to congratulate you for being a Bitcoiner. And I also want to, say thank you for those of you who have actually shared your journey and some of your feedback and comments below about where you're at on your journey, because I think it's always helpful to newbies and people who are kind of here for the first time as encouragement and as inspiration to help them bite the bullet and start on their journey. Because let's face it, starting anything new, taking that first step is always the hardest step. I'm sure you would agree with that. And it really doesn't matter what we do in our life. Anything that is new, anything that is potentially transformational in our life, it usually requires some form of proactive action from us in order to get the benefit from it. And, I get to talk to people pretty much every week who are new to Bitcoin, who have very intelligent questions for the most part. But it's very clear to me that a lot of people, they just haven't done any kind of study or homework when it comes to this transformational monetary technology. And so I think that step number one in becoming a Bitcoiner really comes down to a little bit of education. And, it's been said before that in Bitcoin, to really get it, it takes somewhere, anywhere between 100 and 1,000 hours of study. Now, most people don't have that amount of available time, certainly to condense into a short window to learn something relatively quickly. We all have fairly busy lives these days. And so to expect the average person to be able to, dedicate, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a week to something that is completely new, for many people that's a very difficult thing, and I understand that. But then there are those who do have some time on their hands and are really intrigued by what Bitcoin represents, and so they'll really absorb information and immerse themselves in this, in books, podcasts, interviews, different types of learning, to really try to absorb and understand this as much as they can, to really help propel them on their journey. And I guess I was like that when I first started. I really wanted to start absorbing the information. I really wanted to try and understand it. But if I had have waited until I fully really got Bitcoin, I still wouldn't be in it today. Because even today, after 7 years of learning and studying and pondering and reflecting and tuning into some even genius minds that are in the Bitcoin space, and I would argue that some of the most intelligent people on earth are Bitcoiners. And, if you've spent any time listening to different podcasts, the likes of Michael Saylor and Jeff Booth, and back in the day, Andreas Antonopoulos, he was an instrumental figure for me in really helping me to start my learning journey. But these types of people, the likes of Max Kaiser, they all have unique insight that really helps you to grasp what Bitcoin truly represents. And so learning is so important, but don't wait too long. Don't wait until you know it all. Don't think that you have to know it all before you actually take the first step, because that's the biggest mistake that so many people make. They keep putting it on the back burner and using the fact that they don't fully understand it as an excuse for why they're not taking action. Meanwhile, the price of Bitcoin and the opportunity for them to get involved, to stake their claim, to start parking their economic energy in this transformational monetary technology, it's passing them by. And the opportunity for them to acquire sats, to start banking for the future, is going to run away from most people, because they're just procrastinating, sitting on the fence and not taking action. And so hopefully you'll get some encouragement today, if you're absolutely new to this space, to actually take that first step. Yes, it can seem a little daunting at first, but you don't have to give away the farm. You can just start small and get comfortable with the process, acquiring a little Bitcoin, acquiring some Satoshis. And I want to share with you three key levels that I like to share with people, and really depending on their personal situation and where they're at in terms of their attachment to Bitcoin and their impetus to really get started on the journey, plus their financial situation. One of these three levels typically, covers most people as a starting point. So I'll share that with you in a moment. But the point is, you've just got to make a start, and then as you get comfortable with the process, you'll have the confidence and the conviction to continue to acquire more Bitcoin, more Satoshis. And as you're doing that, you start to feel really good within yourself, because what you know that you're doing is you're protecting and preserving your economic value. So what you do in this world, the way that you give value for the world that generates dollars, that generates revenue, your labor, your intellectual knowledge, your ability to generate income, to run a business, all of these things, your skill sets, this is the value you bring to the world. And in return for that, you're getting a paper currency right now that, unfortunately, the value of that currency is being depleted at an alarming rate. And most people don't realize that. And that's a sad thing. But you're here because you do realize that. You do understand that inflation is a man-made phenomenon, and he and she who controls the money printer and is able to essentially print paper currency out of thin air, thereby diluting the value of the income and the dollars that we're earning and saving, you understand that problem. And so I believe that if you understand that problem, and you understand that Bitcoin essentially is the solution to that problem, you don't really need to know more than that to make a start. So I hope you really get that, and I hope this kind of hits home with you, because the level at which you start on your Bitcoin journey, to me, that doesn't matter. What really matters is where you end up. And this is why I like to sort of fashion the idea with people to have some kind of an end game, an end target in mind as to why they're involved in Bitcoin. Is it to supercharge the performance of an existing asset portfolio? Is it to be able to accelerate their way to retirement? Is it to be able to get out of debt, maybe pay down a mortgage that otherwise might be hanging around your neck for 10, 20, 30 years? There are lots of reasons why people get involved in Bitcoin, and you need to decide, the reasons that are important to you. But I think just having that as a bit of a vision for your life, a bit of a compelling target or goal to sort of give you the encouragement and the impetus to actually do this, I think is an important step. And, you can probably think back to a time in your life when you did something new that is going to be good for you. It could be a physical goal, it could be a personal goal, it could be a financial goal, could even have been a relationship goal. And when you have a bit of a vision for how you want your life to actually look in the future, that becomes like a magnet that helps to actually pull you forward. And for me, being a Bitcoiner has really helped me to crystallize the kind of future that I want to see in the next 10, 15, 20 years in my life and in my family life. And so, that is one of the downstream spin-off effects of becoming a Bitcoiner, because you start really valuing the future more than the present. Whereas everybody else in the world tends to be putting all their value in the present and sacrificing the future. And so the reason for that is because Bitcoin, you understand that because of its absolute scarcity, the fact that it is finite and fixed supply, and it is inherently deflationary, it's going to take a lot for people to actually part ways with their Satoshis and their Bitcoin, because they know that when they do that, they are all of a sudden sacrificing the future for the present. Because the value proposition of Bitcoin is pretty much just up and to the right forever over the long term, because it is truly scarce. And so these are all the mindset aspects. Once you have those down and you're clear on that, you can take your first step. You don't need to learn all the ins and outs of Bitcoin. You don't need to know how it works. This iPhone that I'm shooting this video on, I don't know anything about the technical aspects of what makes this iPhone work. I just know that when I hit record, it's going to do everything that I need it to do. When I pick up the phone and talk to somebody, it's doing what I need it to do. The chips inside that phone, I don't have a technical bone in my body. I don't know how that works, but I don't need to. I just need to know what the phone is doing and the outcome it's going to provide for my life. Same thing in the truck that I'm driving. Don't know how it works, but I just know that it works and it gets me from A to B and it's comfortable to drive and I'm able to throw stuff in the back and it does everything that I need it to do. And this is exactly the same with Bitcoin. You don't need to know how it works, you just need to get on the train. You just need to get on the life raft and to get comfortable with the process, and then build your confidence and make sure you have the right time horizon. It's no good getting into Bitcoin if you want to be worried about what the price of it's going to be in 30 days from now. And this is really the only people, I believe, that have ever failed in Bitcoin are the ones that have bought into Bitcoin and then they've looked at a price chart. Maybe there was a price adjustment the following week, the following month, following that, and it shook them out. They got scared and they basically gave away their sats and their Bitcoin never to return. And what a tragedy that is. And so having that basic understanding right up front of what this asset is something you can do relatively quickly. Then you take the first step and then you're on your way. And so really my message today is to get off zero. If you're sitting on zero, if you own no Satoshis, get in the game. Get in the game, because the value of those Satoshis over time is going to be significantly greater than the dollars that you're holding. Because the dollars you hold are infinite. They are inherently inflationary. Whereas the Satoshis that you're holding are fixed supply, they're finite, they are inherently deflationary. So when you hold dollars, the price of everything around you is going to go up. When you hold Satoshis and Bitcoin, the price of everything around you over time is going to go down. Because Bitcoin is the world's first natural, true, free market. Bitcoin is the world's first true free market. And that's why it's repricing everything, including real estate. So, I know I'm on a bit of a rant, a bit of a tangent here, but I just want to hammer home the point. You don't need to understand all of the ins and outs of Bitcoin to get started. You just need to know that it is a solution, it is a life raft, it is a paradigm shift from the broken money system, and you need to get off zero. You need to get involved, get in the game. Find an exchange in your country that is a regulated exchange, open an account, send some fiat currency from your bank to your account, and then buy some sats, whatever level that you feel comfortable with. And just in round figures, I like to kind of convey to people that there's 3 levels that are great starting points that kind of cover most people. Number 1 is 1 million sats, number 2 is 10 million sats, and number 3 is 100 million sats. Now 100 million sats is one whole Bitcoin. The problem today is that a whole Bitcoin is about 85,000 USD right now today, which is about 130 odd AUD, Australian dollars. And so that's out of reach for a lot of people unless they have significant equity or capital, or they're divesting some other assets or selling down a share portfolio, or they have substantial superannuation, they're looking to consolidate into an SMSF, those kinds of things. Then there is a faction of society who is more than equipped to acquire one whole Bitcoin. There is less than 1 million Bitcoin addresses that own one whole Bitcoin, less than 1 million throughout the whole world. So you don't need to be Einstein to work out that it puts you in a very, very elite class, a very, very elite group, if you are able to acquire yourself one whole Bitcoin. There's something like 63 millionaires worldwide, only 63 millionaires. Some of those are, of course, multimillionaires and even billionaires. There's only 21 million whole Bitcoin. And so, again, only about a third of all the millionaires in the world will ever be able to acquire one whole Bitcoin. And so we need to keep these things in mind when it comes to the value proposition. But if one Bitcoin's out of reach, how about 10% of a Bitcoin? 10% of a Bitcoin, it's about 8,500 USD, about 13,000 Australian dollars. That'll buy you 10 million Satoshis. If that's too much, what about 1 million Satoshis? 1 million sats, 850 USD, about 1,300 Australian dollars. A great place to start if that's kind of where your level is and what you're comfortable with. My point is, get off zero, get in the game. You don't have to own one whole Bitcoin. We're at the start of a significant monetary revolution, a transformation of wealth and of value, the likes of which I believe we've never seen before. And this is because we're at the end of a 50-year monetary experiment known as fiat currency, a debt-based system that is only going to continue to create inflation and more debt. And the quicker you can start to gradually get yourself off that sinking ship, off the debt-based Titanic and onto this Bitcoin life raft, the better off you're going to be. I want to leave it there today. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope you got some value, some insight, something to hang on to, something to share with somebody else from this video. I like talking about all of the nuances and the mindset shifts that are required to become a Bitcoiner, because I don't think that that's discussed enough. And I really believe that what makes Bitcoiners over the long term is as much about their mindset and their belief and their understanding of what this truly represents as it is about, how many X's Bitcoin is going to do in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Whilst those things are attractive and they tend to draw in most newbies to Bitcoin, for me it's every bit as important to be really dialed into what this represents and how quickly you can just get the basic understanding of it and take action. I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share and subscribe. If you got value today, if you're new here, please subscribe. I'd love to welcome you to my community. By all means, leave a comment if you'd like to do that. I read them all. Other than that, have a really great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. This is Zane signing out. Bye for now.